You go on a first date with someone, what habit or characteristic is a deal breaker? Spending the whole time on their phone. Had a first date with a guy once. At some point I asked him to look up something on his phone. I forget exactly what the context was, and he told me he had intentionally left his phone in his car for our date. Color me impressed. We dated for nearly a year. I do this when I go to parties or social events. I'll leave my phone in the car intentionally so I can be present and engage with people. It's not like I'm glued to my phone, but I notice I will unconsciously look at my phone for a minute or check messages. It's a terrible habit. I'm sure there's a middle ground, but leaving my phone in the car seems to work just fine. They only want to talk about themselves. I once had a 2-hour blind date. By the end, I knew everything about this girl. I knew all of her cats by name, and what their favorite movies were. She asked me literally nothing, and just kept jumping from topic to topic. At the end of the date, she wanted to trade numbers, and I couldn't help but ask what's my name? And she didn't know. So I just paid for my meal and left. I'm sorry, her cats had favorite movies? I'm imagining you going over to her place and a tabby rubs against your foot. Oh, you must be Matilda, who loves natural-born killers. Good choice. Oh, is that Randolph? You really couldn't think of anything better than snakes on a plane? Humans getting hurt and dangly noodles to play with? Snakes on a Plane is the perfect movie for a cat. I've seen being rude to wait staff a dozen times in here. Are that many people rude to waiters? Constantly talking about their exes. I feel like there's a balance needed. For my so and I, we were upfront about weird issues we brought with us from past relationships. Everyone has baggage. You gotta be able to talk about it so your new boo won't be confused when something unimportant, to them, stresses you out completely. I know there are things that would have really annoyed me, boo, because we talked about our past relationship issues. It was a lot easier to grow past it and be better with one another. Edit. To add some context, yes, it was our first date. We also live in NYC, so my theory that the city makes everything move at a quicker pace, even tough conversations about communication and emotional boundaries. On their phone the whole time. If you can't disconnect for an hour or so to engage with me, then it's not going to work. Right? I'm on a date as I'm reading this entire thread and I can't believe how much of it I agree with. This bitch keeps tutting and clearing her throat loudly and I don't know why. Learn some manners. They talk over me and spend the conversation giving me unsolicited advice about how to live my life. Edit. I feel like I need to specify that I was thinking of one specific first date that did not become a second date when I answered this. Lol. The guy didn't like that I had dyed my hair blonde at the bottom and spent a lot of the date telling me about the dangers of bleaching your hair and how I should learn to make better choices. I just wanted to have a good dinner, man. Terrible haiku, but what did I expect? Too much discussion about money. When she puts her smoke out in her baked potato. Lamau, I'm assuming Teresa's story behind this? He was still hungry and wanted to finish the baked potato. She done gone and ruined it. I feel a country song being written at this very moment. Edit. The internet is a wondrous place. Well, those spuds sure were looking quite tasty, doggone it, buttered and sprinkled with bacon and chive. I was moments from asking for to nibble upon it, but her cigarette butt cut my heart like a knife. #X200B. Chorus, a potato is not an ashtray, that's what the ashtray is for. Why have you committed this crime against food? My love for you, darlin', alas is no more. #X200B. Edit, spuds not suds. Edit 2, a Redditor, made a great recording of this. I made your lyrics into a song. This potato is not an ashtray. Wow, that's amazing. You have a wonderful voice. Ah, thanks. Great lyrics. Someone who makes me read their bad poetry. This has happened to me more than once. Edit as I just woke up to a bunch of responses and I can't possibly reply to them all individually. I don't hate poetry, I very much like it. Especially Vaughan poetry. However, on a first date, there is a huge difference between, have you read this poem by X? What do you think of this bit? And here is my notebook, read it all and tell me what you think. Story bits for those who asked. The first time this happened I was 18 and we met through mutual friends. While it wasn't great, it wasn't emo angsty levels of bad. Unfortunately, he then started sending me poetry he had written about me and calling me his muse. This after having met once. He then went full stalker. So yeah. Nope. Second time was some years later. It was bad, but I was not mean about it. We continued chatting, then said goodnight politely and parted. The next day he went from "I had a really nice time, give me a call" to "I am sure you are busy, but please reply" to "clearly you are ignoring me, so let's never speak again," in the space of a 3-hour barrage of text messages. I was at work, so I didn't see the messages till lunchtime. Have you tried Vaughan poetry? It is out of this world. O freudled grunt bugly, thy micturations are to me as plurtled gabble blotchets on a lurgid bee. Group, I implore thee, my funding turling dromes, and hoopshiously drangle me with crinkly bindle wordles, or I will rend thee in the gobberworts with my blurgle crunchin', see if I don't. Edit, formatting on mobile is hard. That was pure agony. How could you show this in a public forum? I actually thought it was quite good. I liked, some of the imagery. Yes, the interesting rhythmic devices which seem to counterpoint the underlying metaphor for the humanity, of vogonity of the poet's soul. So, what you're saying is I write poetry because underneath this callous, mean, heartless exterior, I really just want to be loved? Well, I mean, yes, don't we all, deep down, you know, No, well, you're completely wrong. I just write poetry to throw my mean, callous, heartless exterior into sharp relief. I'm going to throw you off the ship anyway. Getting so drunk on the first date that you can't figure out Uber and I have to drive you home. No, you can't stay on my couch, I don't know you. I did this once. That relationship ended up lasting 2 years though. Was going to just be a hookup, my first time doing that, so I got drunk to not be nervous, got too drunk, he took me back to his house and out me in pajamas and fed me pizza and held my hair while I puked. I thought he would never want to see me again, but he was cool about it. That's the story of how my friends first started dating. I want to say it was date 2 or 3. They're married now. You learn an awful lot about a person by witnessing how they take care of others when they are unable to take care of themselves. A guy who sees you home safe, holds your hair back while you hug the toilet, tucks you in and leaves with no funny business and still wants to see you the next day is probably a person worth keeping in your life. I was once set up to go on a blind date with this girl. We were given each other's email addresses and so I hit her up, we exchanged a few pleasantries, then set up a date time to finally meet. The day of, I get an email from her in the morning with an attachment. I open up the attachment and there is a questionnaire with like 25 to 30 questions on it. She requested I kindly fill out the questionnaire before we meet. I quickly reviewed the questions before sending her a reply saying that it's probably best we don't meet. I don't know what characteristics she embodied, but I'd say that was a deal breaker. What kind of questions were they? I don't recall the exact questions, as it was a long time ago, but I do remember some were as innocuous as dog or cat. But others required further explanation, like who is your favorite person in the world? What has he/she done to make you like them so much? It was insane. I've had job interviews that were less thorough. It kind of sounds like the OkCupid questionnaires. I actually find them useful to read through, if only to weed out the ones who say, yes, I believe the earth is bigger than the sun. Probably wouldn't email that to a prospective partner though. Lying. Even, if not especially, about small things. I was once told that someone had gone down a hill on their bike so fast a speed camera clocked them at 234 miles per hour, ignoring that that's faster than the world record on a bike. Why? Why are you making this up? 234 miles per hour? That's pretty badass, dude. You still have their number? If they are hard to talk to, might not make them a bad person, but obviously there is no chemistry if all I get are one-word answers where they also don't reciprocate questions. So you're a teacher, right? Yep, well that's cool. What grade? 2 ND, oh what a great age. That's like the perfect time cause kids still kind of like school. Aha, check please. I still get this with my girlfriend sometimes. I think some people can just be natural listeners, obviously it won't be received very well on the first date.